Well, welcome to this month's Staying Human, the masterclass. This month, we're going to talk about authenticity as a business strategy, what it actually looks like in practice. So, before we go into today's topic, I want to give you, for those of you who aren't overly familiar with me, a little bit of my background. So I have built business over the last 24 years. I've been an entrepreneur and in business myself. And previously to that, I spent, 18 years in corporate. And this work that I'm going to share with you today came out of uh, a time when I was building my business. At the beginning, actually, is when it really started. As I was working on my business plan, I have a background in my degrees in business and all the years in corporate. And I was sitting there looking at, okay, so I'm doing a business plan. And there was no way to integrate in that business plan exactly what I was looking to do. What are the values? How do I make this business on the outside look like it feels on the inside of what this business is to be in true alignment? So, with that, I started on a journey, and everything that I'm going to share with you today is stuff I've learned on my journey over time. And as we get towards the end of today, you'll learn a process that I have developed over my time in business to really ensure alignment. So, authenticity as a business strategy, it really is a key strategy, especially in today's market. So, today, I am today we're going to go through a few things. So, today we're going to look at what authenticity as a business strategy actually looks like. And this is looking at the structural definition, not the buzzword. Authenticity has been used as a buzzword over and over again, and it really isn't when it's taken and looked at from a structural standpoint. We're going to look at what is the real cost of misalignment. There are actually figures out there that show you what the cost of that misalignment is, whether it's costing you in decision fatigue or just in your team, what the friction is with your leadership team, with the rest of your team. And we're going to look at the path back to alignment. We're going to explore the RISE framework that I've created over time. So that's our journey for today. All right, so let's take a look at the current environment. All right, so the current environment impacts you. And what is the current business environment right now? Right now, customers and employees are demanding authenticity and transparency. And you see so much of that going away with AI. And AI just makes it worse if it's not aligned with you. And trust. People are not trusting like they used to. So it's really at its lowest point ever. And clients and customers are expecting what they get to match what you're telling them they're going to get. The days of the quote unquote bro marketing or the large promises and delivery is sketchy doesn't work anymore. Okay, so what you may be experiencing in all of this, okay, so that's the external environment. But what is your experience right now? You might be working harder and longer and feeling further behind, like you just can't catch up. Decisions that used to feel clear are now feeling heavier. It's like, how do I decide? There might be confusion in the decisions. And sometimes that causes you to just not want to even deal with it. Also, that anxiety that just kind of sits there underneath your energy level, like that going to bed where sleep doesn't come, or you wake up in the middle of the night with those thoughts just running through your mind. Whatever the problem is that you're focusing on, that fear that you missed something. Our days get so hectic and so distracting that sometimes it's like, okay, what did I miss? Is everybody doing what they're supposed to be doing? So that is really where things are today. Inside you, outside, and even your team is probably experiencing some of this. Now, your business, one of the things I've learned over time is that your business is a mirror. So, whatever you're experiencing in your business is mirroring back to you areas where it's important for you to take a look. What needs to be shifted? What needs to be changed? And every business is a mirror of the business owner or the leaders at the top. So if you think about it, if you've ever been in a larger organization or even in yours, there's this place where who we're showing up as and how we're showing up affects everybody else around us. Your business was birthed by you, but it's not you. And when those get mixed up and collapsed together, there can be other issues. But it's really important to know that what is going on within your business is also at some level going on within you. Do the outside circumstances are they always yours? No. However, how you deal with them reflects throughout your business. So let's look at what if your business was built from who you actually are. And so this is where we take a look at authenticity as your strategy. So authenticity in your business begins with authenticity in you. So when authenticity is your strategy, so let's take a step. So close your eyes for a moment. And let's imagine if your business was fully aligned with you, your authentic self, that deeper part of you, and it was truly authentic. What would that look like? What would that feel like? Feel free to close your eyes as I go through this part and see if you can see it in your mind's eye. Okay. Number one, you recognize yourself in it. So besides seeing yourself, can you feel what it would be like for you if all of your business, you could see yourself in it, you could recognize, oh, I created this, and it feels so good. And your decisions, the decisions that you're making, they actually feel like you made them. They weren't done under pressure. They weren't done, oh, I've got to do this, and then you have to deal with fallout. But they feel on target and fully aligned and like they flowed. This was the right decision. Yes, there might be things that come out from it, but even so, you know it was the right decision. Your energy. So you spend more time in the flow, and your energy goes towards the things that matter, that are important for you to take care of, instead of being absorbed. So your attention is clear, it's focused on you and not absorbed by the noise and distractions that are going on in our world. And let me tell you, there are a lot of distractions going on in our world. And you lead from this place of steadiness, groundedness, And you're not going, okay, when's the shoe going to drop? Because everything is authentic and aligned. And your business feels like that expression of what you imagined. So if you go authentic expression of what you imagined it would and could be, and your business carries the weight that it was meant to carry. It creates the revenue that it was meant to create. It gives you the freedom to live the life that you want. So let's look at what that authenticity as a business strategy. Let's dive into this a little bit. We just talked about what does it look like? What does it feel like? So just imagine that's what your business is. It's not a headache. So let's look at the strategy piece of it. So there are three parts to this. The first we're going to look at is the internal foundation. This is the internal foundation of your business. So the values, you don't just have them plaqued on the wall or in a poster or a plaque or a frame, however they are. Yes, they need to be there as well, but they're in the room. You can feel that the energy of the business is operating through and with those values. And every person in your organization can feel them, they can name them, and they can make decisions from them, whatever the values are. And sometimes as you start working on the values for your business, they can be a little different, the authentic values, than what you actually thought they were. Because so many times it's easy to get caught up in that trap of creating your values to be what you think they should be versus how they authentically really are and you authentically want them to be. So, culture isn't managed from the top or the bottom. In this case, everyone is exudes your culture. They're lived by everyone within your business. And there's a consistency to how things feel, whether it's in meetings, whether it's in your hard conversations, and in those moments when no one's watching. There's a saying is when no one's watching, you can tell and see who people are. Well, you can see the same in your culture. When no one's watching, are your people showing up in alignment with the culture? Do they embrace and love your culture? Did you hire them for who they are and their purpose within your business? This is how they've been, and this is how they're going to show up. In this sense, you don't have to wonder if people are living it. You can see it, you can feel it, and you know it. So, what does this look like? So, the visible expression is a couple of things. One, there's a code of ethics that translates values into behavior. This is one of the things that I do with my clients is when we look at their values and we dive into them deeply to make sure they're authentically aligned and that the business is fully aligned in its values with the owner. And when the business becomes fully aligned with the code of ethics, it actually frees you as the business owner up because you're not wondering if everybody's doing their job, and you can create another business, you can create more in your life and you're not entangled within your business when this is one of the key things here. So that behavior shows up so everybody understands. It becomes a standard in your business that everyone is hired against, they're onboarded, and they're held to. Accountability is absolutely clear because this is like your guiding principles within your business and how we show up for each other and for the world. So boundaries are one of the areas within companies that don't often get held. We each have our personal boundaries, and the structure in the world and in our business gets impacted by the boundaries that we hold and the accountabilities around that. But they're understood. The boundaries are understood, the what we can do, what we can't do, those types of things, how we're going to show up, how we interact with others are really clear, and there's guidance. And when when your team, when you're interacting, actions consistently match the words. The inside of your business, how it operates matches the words that you communicate to your customers. It's not just marketing. It's truly an expression. So your marketing becomes an expression of who and how you are within your business. And, nobody's perfect. No business is perfect. But when mistakes happen, they're owned and they're corrected and they're communicated. Sometimes it requires doing it publicly. Sometimes it doesn't. But mistakes are owned and corrected. It's an emotionally mature way to operate within your business and within the world. For a mature business to really allow its people to own their mistakes is really, really huge. Back in the day, there was a story. Hewlett Packard had a senior executive that made a mistake, and it cost the company like $3 million, which is huge. Hewlett Packard back then was a really huge company. I don't hear about them much anymore. But anyway, with that mistake, the senior executive went to the CEO and offered their resignation because it was a big mistake. And the CEO told this senior executive, "Why would I accept your resignation? I just paid for a costly education. Take what you've learned and go from there." It was an education, it was schooling. That is an example of having education, and mistakes happen. It's how we grow, it's how we learn even more, and it's how we can be of even better service. And you have the right people doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons. This gets into the area where all your team, everybody in your business, is working from their own soul alignment just as you are. And that is part of their purpose. That's what they're here for. So it has your business kind of like humming. If you think about it, the gears are all working. They're all moving together, intersecting where they need to be intersecting. And you can see it, and productivity is there. Okay, I'm going to take a quick drink of water. All right, so the outcome. All right, well, this is good. Looks good. This is what it looks like. It's what it feels like. So, what are the outcomes when you actually have an aligned business? Okay, so your business carries an energy of being trustworthy. So it comes out, whether it's in reviews, that you can be trusted to follow through and that your marketing, your inside of your business are all in alignment. It's kind of like, that integrity place, walking your talk. You walk your talk and people know it, people feel it, people sense it. Okay. And transparency comes from you are who you are. Your business is what it is. There's nothing to hide. So that transparency comes from that. You're open with your team. There's a transparency. People are working together. And your impact extends beyond the revenue and the philanthropy that you do. It really expands into the community, into the lives of the people that your business touches. So that it's much easier for a business that's operating authentically, uses business authentic strategies, and is really in alignment with that which you intended to create. There's a ripple effect. It's like when you drop a rock into a pond into the water, it ripples out. Well, this is what happens when your business is fully aligned. The ripples out serve the greater whole. And when the market changes and shifts, as it's always going to, the outcome from having this way is that you have that ability, your business has the ability and the wherewithal to create the shifts because you've built in a level of consciousness within your business that doesn't get stagnant, that doesn't get stuck. So the innovation and forward movement then becomes a natural expression of the business. The business evolves. You evolve. The people in your business evolve. The energy is there. It's forward moving energy. And your business is built to navigate whatever comes next. It becomes resiliently sustainable. And you have sustainable profit. That's a natural result. So I want you to take a moment to absorb all of this and look at where are you within your business? Where does your business fit from where you are to what an authentic, aligned business would be and look like for you on that line of authenticity? Now, do this on a scale of 0 to 10. First number that comes into your brain, just write it down. Where are you on that line between where you are and full, authentic operating in your business? I'm going to pause the recording for a moment while you do that. Okay, we are back. So sit with that number that you have and let's look at going into what is the cost of staying where you're at? Okay, so the cost of staying the same, let's take a look at this. So I have a drawing here for you. So you are at the center of your business. So for you, the cost is even higher than for your team members and your business. Let's look at it. So for your business, these are some sources that below on the screen, the LSA Global, Gallup, Stanford, Harvard Business Review, and the Center for American Progress. All right. So if the cost of staying the same and business being out of alignment, you can end up with, for the organization, up to 20% of annual payroll is lost because it doesn't connect to strategic priorities. So on a $1.5 million payroll, that would be a $300,000 annually, ongoing, invisible, and totally compounding. And 40% of productivity is lost through duplicated work and effort. So you also, the turnover, the cost, so 30%. So if we're looking at an entry-level person and hourly roles, you're going to have a 30 to 50% cost in rehiring when somebody exits. In a skilled to mid-level person, your costs are like 75% to 150% of the annual salary. And at an executive level, it's 213% of their salary and can actually go as high as at the C-suite as 40. It can get up to as 40 times more than their salary. And when a business isn't aligned, the revenue can decline on average of 4% per year. So when it gets into skills, oh, there we go. All right. So skills can be taught, alignment and culture fit not. There is significant cost for not being in alignment in your business. So let's look at what the impact is. So when your business is not fully aligned, then the impact that you want to make shrinks back. And your team can't carry the mission because they're not aligned. How can they follow? If you've got misalignment, it's kind of like everybody's kind of going everywhere. And it's very difficult to get decisions made. And for you, it's very difficult to turn over decisions to your team when things aren't in alignment, which costs a huge amount of opportunities. The number of opportunities you lose can be significant. And your business is running you more. This is where you get to be run ragged. All right. Personally, okay, I've seen more entrepreneurs and founders actually have health issues because they're carrying the weight of decisions, the weight of wondering, are they going to be able to make payroll when things start going different or wonky, actually, from having misalignment. Sleep doesn't come. That anxiety we talked about earlier, it's there. You're working harder and you can't get it. It feels like you can't get anywhere. It's kind of like that treadmill that you're on. And when you lead from depletion, it's not as effective as when you lead from being filled and restored. We have an issue in our country that it's that type A tendency of we got to go, 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 and then we collapse. It's not a healthy way to live, and it's not in alignment with what your soul is here to do. And life, the cost to your life, your relationships absorb the cost because you're not present. As I mentioned in the other, your health and your energy get depleted. This is the one I love. Someday keeps moving. Well, someday is now. And what happens is when the cost of misalignment is that you are not living the life you intended to live now. So let's go back to, so this is the cost of sticking and staying where you are. And do all of these things happen? Not necessarily, but they're here. And when they're present, if you're not in that place of 100% authenticity, which is also, by the way, a moving target, but we'll get into that a bit later. So let's look at, what does alignment make possible? So again, you're at the center. So when everything's aligned with you, there's 58% faster revenue growth, 72% more profitable, and responsibility is distributed. It's amazing the amount of financial impact that alignment has in a business. And it really gets things running smooth for you. And you end up with sustainable profit. The impact. So you're expansive and your business is expansive. Growth is coming. Your team is on board with your mission, and your clients, you can serve them deeper, and you have a legacy that you're building that goes. And the work provides, and your business provides you with the work you love, your team members with the work you love, they love. It's like rocking. And personally, you get to live your life. You're feeling replenished, you're solid, you're grounded, and you have health. Your health is there, your sanity is there. You don't feel like you're going nuts, and you're actually leading from that core of the center of who you are. And your life, relationships are working. Your rest restores you. And now you're living the life you imagined, and you're doing your soul's work on a daily basis. And your life and everything kind of comes together. And so close your eyes for a minute and imagine, what would that be like? Can you see yourself there? There you go. Take a breath. You're there. You've got it. All right. So let's look at the journey. What is the journey from where you are to where you want to go, to that authentic business that is reflecting of your authentic self and the strategy that you're bringing in? Well, first of all, let's look at you. This is the journey because you guide the journey. And let's start with looking at who you are not. You are not what you do. That is not who you are. And this is one of the biggest mistakes we as business owners make. We take on the idea that we are what we do, and that's not true. You are not what you do. You are not your beliefs. For one, they come from everybody else to start with. You are not your behaviors or your patterns. Yes, that's how you show up in the world, with patterns, with behaviors, but you are not those. That is not who you are. And you are not your roles. And you are not your DISC, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, Strength Finder, etc. You are not what the personality tests define. Those are assessments. They are not you. They just show you how you've adapted in the world. They're not who you are. So, who are you? You are more than you think you are. As all those who you are nots, it's so easy to get caught up in everyday life and in business that you see that as who you are. Do you know who you really are? Who are you? Hint, me isn't the answer. This is a quote that I put together a long time ago because you are more than you think you are. Let's take a look here at the earth. So if we think about ourselves like Gaia, like the earth, at the core is the center of Gaia. And then we have this beautiful planet on the outside. So if you were like Gaia, let's take a look at how that looks for you as an individual. So you, at the center of you, is your power core. This is your soul. This is your soul showing up in the world. This is what powers you. And around your core is your operating system. We all have an operating system. If you're familiar with computers, they have an operating system. They have hardware. Our bodies are our hardware. And our operating system is what guides us. It's how we were designed to show up in the world. In my work, I use human design and a few other tools to help you really identify what is that operating system? What is the core software that you received? Now, our programming can change a lot of it, and some of it we want to keep, and some of it we want to let go of. But that's our operating system. And as we navigate the world, we create patterns and behaviors that we operate in the world with that comes from the programming. Like I said, some of it we want to keep, some of it we don't. And then from there, you have that expression of your personality. This is where sometimes your design shows up, sometimes your software, your soul shows up in these personality expressions, but these are your personality tests and assessments. You've already become an adult in a world. This is how you've adapted to get your needs met. So this is the expression of you. Some of it's authentic, some of it's not. And this is how your soul shines through. So this is where some of it is and some of it's not. Okay, so this is who you are. At the center, this is your operating system. Now, the key is to have more of you shining out beyond, and your operating system helping you to navigate. So some of those personality tests are kind of on sometimes. They're really off because they're the adaptation. And you take all of this and you wrap it with your life and business. So we have a life, we have a business that's built around the largest part of how we've adapted in the world with our patterns and a little bit of who we are showing up. So how do we go from where we are to understanding more of who we are and what we're here for? Well, that is Rise. This is the path of becoming. Rise is the framework that I developed over the last, well, really over the last 24 years, and it's really taken its form over the last 12. So let's look at what is Rise. This is the path for you to take to really show up and align your business with you. This is a key part of the journey. This isn't all the hows, but this is the overview of the journey to take. Well, the first thing is to realign and remember. You need to clarify what no longer fits, reveal what's trying to emerge, and remember who you are. This is understanding yourself at a deeper level. It's shifting perspectives. What was programming, what was not? What do you want to keep and go forward? So as you do that, now remember, this whole process, this journey is really a spiral because you kind of go back and forth and up and down and around. And we go really into what does this look like in detail in my work with my clients and in my groups. Next is to integrate and embody. So as you realign and remember who you are, we step into a place of integration where you really open up and discover who you are, and you anchor that. You start showing up as who you are, not worried about what everybody else thinks, letting go of things like imposter syndrome and all of those ways we learn to operate in the world that don't necessarily serve us. We are each here with an intention and a contribution to the whole, as well as how we want to learn and grow. This is where you start embodying it. And then the next is the S in rise. This is where you structure. This is where you put the structures. This is where your code of ethics for your business comes in. This is where personal boundaries come in. This is where business boundaries, accountabilities. This is about building the architecture that supports who you're becoming and who your business is becoming. The thing about Rise is it applies to you because you are at the center of your business. And that mirror that goes out, well, you have to put these in place for you. The structures, the integration needs to go for you as much as it does for your business. Okay. And the E is to evolve and expand. So you want to scale from a place of coherence and have growth that doesn't create new chaos. Although you can't 100% not have chaos when you're growing because the things that need to go away will go away. But evolution is so key. It is never a one and done. So to go from where you are right now, to go for aligning your business, it has you're evolving through that process. And when you get to a point, you're going to evolve even more into a new place because it's in a growth journey. Now, for this evolution, know that you will evolve again. You cannot take a one and done approach to this because it's a constant moving target. And for this initial time, what you can expect as you go through this process for you and your business, I want you to know that it takes time. Like I said, it's not one and done, and it's not overnight. It's a journey. So the journey, the initial journey from where you are now to bringing your business, your culture, everything in alignment takes 18 months to 5 years. And that depends on the complexity of your business. The more complex, the more people, the longer it's going to take. So if there's you and one other person, if your business is at the smaller end, it'll take 18 months. Before that, you're kind of rushing it. So in the middle is 18 months to 3 years. And when I work with my clients, this is what I expect to do with them is get them to a place where I can springboard them. So my soul's intention for my contribution to you is to uplift, champion, and springboard you onto what's next, onto the next evolution. Let's get you sustainable, resilient business and life. So today, what we've covered is what authenticity as a business strategy actually looks like, the real cost of misalignment, and the path back to alignment. So that's what we've covered today. And next month, we are going to go into your operating system, how you're wired to lead, decide, and build. So we're going to go into the operating system a little bit more. So I'll have send a link today when the emails go out. If it landed with you and you want to go deeper, there's a clarity intensive where we can get some clarity and that number and take a look at the number that you came up with on the 0 to 10 as to where you are. The recording from today will be available. I'll probably make this one available for a little longer, but usually they're only available for 48 hours. And then you can access it in the library if you have a library subscription, which that will be in the email as well. So with that, I will say we're good. And if nobody has any questions, we will end the day. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll go into questions.